Hi. Today I'm going to be interviewing you about our topic, which is basically materialism versus spiritualism. The main theme of our topic that our youth organization is trying to implement into society and try to bring a change about is the increasing rise of materialism within especially the youth, but not only the youth, people as a society. People are becoming more materialistic, which basically implies that they're more attached to material things and place a higher value on material things. I'm going to ask you certain questions regarding not only materialism but spiritualism. Spiritualism is basically, oh shit, not spiritualism, we'll cut this shit out. Consumerism is essentially the economic and cultural system where people are encouraged to buy more and more goods. For the first question, do you believe that having more stuff makes people happier?
Most of the time does, because in the nature of humans, when you have more stuff, you see yourself as a more superior person to others, because that's kind of what the standards of the world have done. And some people buy more in order to fit in. So yes, having more stuff does make.
But do you think that this is a healthy thought process for people to buy more so that they can fit in or to feel better about themselves when they own more?
No, because people need to realize that the things that they own are not exactly that important. What is more important is their personality and the type of people they're around. And if you are around friends that you have to buy good things to fit in with, then they aren't good friends.
So you believe that it's not a very healthy thing to do?
It's not a healthy thing, but it's reality.
Okay. How can overconsumption get in the way of people seeking richer meaning in life?
Overconsumption is a distraction. If you're seeking a richer meaning, by richer meaning you mean
A better spiritual connection with not only yourself but with people around you.
yes, it does get into the way, because then you see other people buy the things they own. That person has this, that person has that, and people see the same way in you. And you are around people who you think match your standards in materialistic possessions.
Okay. So, do you know about minimalism?
I guess it's the opposite of materialism.
It is where people try to focus on buying only their necessities and not focusing too much on what they're wearing and what brand it's associated with and things like that. So, how do you see minimalism in your own life?
Well, minimalism is a good thing. You should mainly focus on necessities, but there's really nothing wrong with enjoying life. The problem is when you choose materialistic possessions and you show them off and like you show them to other people. I have this, I have that. It's kind of like putting a price on yourself. So I think that in minimalism, it's still fine to spend money on things that you are passionate about and you enjoy. But when you buy things which are unnecessary in the way that, like, for example, you buy an extremely expensive watch, or you tell people about what brand your clothes
So,
are.
essentially, what you're trying to say is the concept of people being materialistic is essentially flawed from the aspect where it starts to connect to showing off or buying things for the sake of other people. Because do you think that this can affect people's mental health, maybe cause anxiety regarding their social situation or position in social environments?
It can, for sure, because if you spend a lot of money on materialistic possessions, then you kind of forget who you are yourself. You forget to talk about yourself when you're around such people who value materialistic objects more. Then you will only talk about the watch that you're currently wearing, or the current, like, I'm wearing Gucci or something. But it kind of gets in the way of knowing who you are yourself and focusing more on building your personality.
Okay, so how do you think that a person can essentially carry both of these things, minimalism with the pressure from society to acquire more material possessions? How can a person maintain a sort of balance between both of these things?
Well, if we're talking about materialistic possessions for showing other people, then that's generally not really a good thing. Especially if you want people to value you. If you want other people to value you, then you shouldn't choose it from materialistic possessions.
But essentially, according to this question, there's a kind of pressure from society. Like people might ask you, hey, if you're wearing a watch, what brand of watch is that? And they might ridicule you on the basis of what clothes you're wearing or what things you own. So do you think it's possible to sort of maintain a balance between your minimalism and that pressure? And if so, what do you think can be done?
Well, there is a balance. You see, some people are desperate for attention. Some people just can't live without it. And those people are really the people who get, stuff so that they can show other people and get into those kind of friend groups. But I think that there is possible to create a balance. But if anyone really ridicules you for, not wearing expensive brands or something, then it's just a sign of their weakness.
Mm.
So you should focus on staying strong yourself. It's a distraction.
Okay. So, what effect do you think social media has on young people's perception of minimalism?
It has a very big effect because in now in nowadays era, parents have a little less control over children, and they're more controlled by social media. And because it's all over the place, even if you keep your child away from devices, it's impossible to keep them away from being interested in such things. So when you really do give them devices, then they get highly influenced by the media, the type of celebrities they see and the type of people. And oftentimes when they create a connection with some sort of celebrity, when they see that celebrity in an ad or something, then they become attached to the product as well. And what they show you online is videos of people showing off their money, showing off their cars, all of their friends putting statuses of driving cars.
So essentially, according to what you're saying and according to what I believe as well, is that social media essentially promotes the fact that material objects and possessions are directly proportional to how valuable you are as a person.
You find all kind of things on the internet. You find good things and you find bad things. But most of the time on the internet, you see a lot of advertisements, you see a lot of people showing off their money, and that's the reason that it is true. Mostly, people, young minds, are given the effect that they need some really expensive thing or they need some really expensive car or shoes to be cool. They don't. They need to have good personality.
Okay. So, do you think advertisements have become more manipulative over time?
Well, people don't exactly realize it, but advertisements have been quite manipulative in many different ways. Well, I don't know about that many ways myself, but one thing I do know is that it's a very big scheme. That any ad, like, it does really manipulate you in many ways.
And there is something that I'm aware of myself. There was a certain documentary about advertisements that I watched for research regarding this whole topic. It was basically how cigarettes were introduced to people when they were first created. Advertisements for cigarettes were created in a kind of manipulative fashion, showing different people from different backgrounds, and they were actually targeted towards women as well. And so a lot of different advertising strategies were used to promote cigarettes in a very good light, as if it is a sign of health or wealth or looking cool. And so I feel like this is a very long time ago. This is from the 60s or the 50s. And so I feel like they have always been very manipulative. It's not a new thing.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Okay, so how much time do you spend pursuing material goals compared to nurturing personal relationships?
Really not that much time because oftentimes, like, I remember I used to wear watches a very long time ago, Not very long. I guess a year or something. It feels like very long. But in quite a while, I haven't worn a watch. But whenever I did wear a watch, I never really looked at the brand. I always looked at how good it looked. So I think I'm not the type of person to ever care about brands or stuff because I'm not really around such people who prioritize things like that.
But it's possible for somebody to be, depending on the company.
Depending on their company and their nature and the things they watch.
But don't you think their nature is also influenced by their company?
Their nature is highly influenced by the company, but mainly by their upbringing.
So, how do you think that the problem of minimalism in the youth and in our society can be solved? Do you think it's by spreading awareness, or because it's kind of a societal thing, because everybody is influencing each other and everybody is birthing a kind of materialism in each other. So if we try to counter that by hosting seminars or spreading awareness publicly, do you think that that is the way to go?
Spreading awareness is always the best way to go because once people realize that what they're doing themselves is wrong, then if they really want to fix that problem for themselves, then they will always choose to fix it. But generally, if you're talking about the entire world, then some people just aren't ready to accept the fact that they're being manipulated into buying such products. And some people just can't quit it.
Well, personally, you, in your environment, in your school setting, or maybe in public places, or maybe according to what you have observed with your friends, or people maybe who are not your friends, maybe even strangers, have you observed people being more materialistic than not?
Well, people have been. Some people are very materialistic, and some people are not at all. That's pretty much what I've seen. There's no real mix because most of the times people don't really show it off that much. But whenever they get the opportunity, they always like to do that to elevate their themselves in other people's eyes. That's why.
Okay, well, this will be my last question. Do you think that there is a kind of line that can be drawn between somebody aiming to simply present themselves better, carry themselves better in public through maybe their physical appearance, in contrast to them simply trying to appear cooler or better or more attractive through only what they own and what they are wearing? Because I feel like there is a kind of contrast.
Well, there is because there's a difference in caring about what you look like. In that, you pull up to someone like you talk to a friend, and they will compliment you if you look good. But in the other thing, like you don't care if you're looking good. You'll see something which doesn't look good. Oh, but it's Gucci, so I have to buy it.
So essentially, the thing is that there's a difference between simply wanting to present yourself as appealing, which I feel is natural. It's mentally everybody wants to be liked, everybody wants to appeal to others. It's a part of human nature. And there's another thing which is simply feeling like that appeal that you want to have with other people will come simply from the products. Because some people might want to appeal to others by taking care of themselves, taking care of their skin, taking care of their body, working out, and dressing well. And some people might feel like they're going to appeal to more people by simply putting on some expensive clothes or something that looks really good, or owning a really modern phone or something like that.
Well, when you wear something which looks good, then there's nothing wrong with that. As you said, it's human nature. There's a clear line, of course, because in wanting to look good and wanting to kind of show off, there's a huge difference. But it also depends on the people who you are wanting to impress, either by your looks or by your ownings. Some people, they don't really care that much about how you look, they care more about your personality. And some people, they care less about how you look, but more about the things you wear and how much money you have. Those are people who want to take advantage of you.
Essentially, what our goal is to help both of these people, the ones who are trying to appeal and the ones who are judging on the basis of the material possessions. We want to encourage both of these people to put their value in things like personality and things like behavior instead of material possessions. Because if I am a materialistic person and I'm trying to impress you with my belongings, but you're not putting that value on belongings, I might be influenced by that and become less materialistic. And so, if we can achieve to a certain extent helping both of these people or both of these groups become less materialistic, they will influence each other to essentially bring about a huge change for both groups. It's like a chain reaction.
You're right, because the first step is always raising awareness. Once they become aware, once they become self-aware of their situation and what they're doing wrong, then yeah, that's the first step to changing.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.